Oh boy. I think we finally did it. It took a little while, but we finally got us a little walleye there. We've been kind of having a shit show here, not gonna lie to you. We had a catfish. We finally have a walleye. Things are much different. If you watch some of our little mega live show, whatever you want to call it, casting for walleyes, much different than last time. We started right off. We've been using that graph ShadZ. Good God, this thing's so good. I would say in summer patterns, things are going to be totally different. Fish are going to be kind of scattered out, deeper stuff. So I picked up the crawler, even though that forces me to fish a little slower. They just tend to bite it better. So we shall see as we monkey around. We've got a bunch of rods on the deck, but Mega Live 2, casting Lake Erie, that's what we're doing. Oh boy, I don't know what we got here. Now I do, it's clean water. We got us a little walleye, not the biggest one, but I'll tell you, we're doing things a little different here. Again, you heard us screaming, graph ShadZ, graph ShadZ. Now we're VMC jig head, VMC jig head, VMC jig head. We are in summer. As much as that works, I'm not saying it still wouldn't work today. These things are, they are pinning it. That's the new tungsten swim bait head, super small from VMC. Super, super small. Even that's 3/8, but it's way smaller than other 3/8 because it's a really solid tungsten. And we got the little crawler on there. We got Mega Live 2. And the big difference that we're doing here with the switch up is got a G Loomis here. This is an NRX Plus also, but it's a fast medium. This is an 842 SLR here, I think, SJR rather. But much, much slower. The other ones are really, really fast, and that's good when you're kind of popping and ripping those plastics. But that does not work very good when you're using live bait, because you want to just give them that extra second or so. The other thing I would tell you is you got to be a little more patient when you're kind of whipping them around there with that plastics, like we were doing with the Z-Man stuff. You don't want to do that with the night crawlers. I kind of had to wait, and that one followed me quite a bit. So, foot up, ooh, foot on the trolling motor, here we go. Here we go. Better one here. This one's a little better walleye here. My casting has not been so good today. Oh, this is down its throat. A little feisty. A little ginger walleye. Ginger walleye. Oh my, we had the whole night crawler. I don't know how long that, oh, it doesn't come out. But man, that thing was really buried in there. I think sometimes, even like we've seen it with the graph ShadZ, the jig is so far in there, I don't even get hooks in them. It's just so deep until they open their mouth. They're hooked up. But I can tell you that making a good cast, have you heard that out of me yet already? Maybe 1,000 times? Because I've made a lot of really bad casts this morning. Or afternoon, I guess. We didn't start till late. This is second shift today. But I'm gonna give you a little tip here. So one thing I really like about this VMC, really good hook, red line hook. If you haven't used those, super, super sharp. Really small, compact. That's a 3/8. It's like maybe a little bit smaller than most quarters because it's tungsten. You can see it on the graph better. But we want to thread this up, and that collar on there is really, really, really key. So we're gonna kind of like pretend we're a bass guy and doing a Texas rig. And we're gonna thread that thing right up there like that and just push it on the collar and just kind of leave it just like that. That seems to be the key. Now, we're messing with stinger hooks and things like that, and you definitely can do that. I think sometimes you don't get as many bites, but if you keep them hooked up, that's obviously more important. Here we go. How did you miss my meat? I don't even know what happened there. They were on me like 2 ticks on a heel hound, and then they, oh yeah, I know what happened. I'm gonna say that was a whitey. I'm just gonna say that and make myself feel better. But he came up with a quickness, and he took everything but my hook. Great fun. You guys that are doing this, would you put a stinger hook on right now? That's the question. Or was it a catfish? Catfish love night crawlers. There's definitely a bunch of catfish out here. Oh, Mega Live 2. Got another one coming up trying to see. Wish we had Country Steve here. Oh, he's over there. He's humping that other one. Good God, it's springtime all over here. It's kind of funny watching that thing come all the way in. One of the things that's, you know, this is very different. Every day is just different. The last time you guys were out with us, if you watched that video, if you haven't, watch that one too. But the fish are just in open water. They're in that summer, they're in that summer mode. It's very, this is a little better one, yo. Oh, you know what it is? It's a kitty cat again. Oh, I wondered he was fighting a little too hard. I said it out loud. Oh boy. There was 2 of them that came up right together. Oh, and he's got my very expensive jig head down his guts here. Oh. Might be able to get this out. But regardless, even though this ain't the right species, you know, I'm out here practicing. We just happen to be videoing it. Open up, Sam. Oh boy, long cast, here we go. This is the right one, but it's got another fellow with it. Oh boy, if it's a good one, if it's the right one. It's crazy on the Mega Live I'm watching. There's at least 2 fish with this one. Oh boy, I don't know, he's just scurfaced. Here was 2 others. That might be the small jaws. If it is a kitty, it is a kitty. These kitties like to play together. We've learned this. If you guys or anybody, we got any catfish hunters out here, I'm getting really good at it. And they just, man, they want those long casts. Holy moly, these are, I mean, if you're into kitty cats, this is the... On this episode of Catfish Hunter, we'll be live scoping channel cats. I mean, he pumped that thing. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh. Oh. Well, like I told you, we're video in practice, but I've had enough practice with those. Here we go. Here we go. Oh my. I don't want to tell you this is a walleye, but it's not. Welcome to Whiskers Guide Service. Oh my. They really like night crawlers if you guys are doing that. It's a walleye. Oh my God, it's a big walleye. Oh, you never know, folks. I tell guide clients that all the time, like, you just never know. I don't know if you heard that drag going. I think you could hear that if you were running a bandsaw. That walleye absolutely harpooned this thing. Matter of fact, I gotta be careful about where I put my fingers there. And just started ripping drag right on the hook set. I thought for sure we had a kitty cat. And that just goes to show you, do not. Holy moly, look at that. I put a stinger on this one, but this one is, I did not need it on that. I'm gonna use my old, oh, look how, God, this thing is, if I was a fit, oh my God, he's trying to still get me. I thought for for sure that was a kitty cat. Oh my, good gracious. Them VMC, them red line hooks are crazy sharp. Nice chunky mama. I would have bet a lot of money that that was a catfish, and I would have lost every single penny. But here we go. Look at that thing go. Oh my. You just never know. We're trying to sneak and get a little shallower, but out here on Lake Erie, you don't get shallow real fast unless you're on the bank. But these fish out deep, there's just so much junk and kitty cats that I just had to do something different. So we're in a process here. This time of year, if you're not on them, you're not on them. We were doing it the other day. We didn't have a camera going, but we were catching almost every cast, but they were kind of a little more isolated and they were a little more predictable. Here, there just seems to be a lot of roamers, even when you watch them on the screen. Just everything's kind of just out and about. And same thing when you're trolling, you know, you see those and there's catch one on a 2-ounce weight and catch one 30 back, and they're just all over the place. And that's kind of what we got on the Mega Live. And again, some of you guys, I know you don't want to do this. I get it, but this is a crazy learning tool, people. Crazy. No, so sorry. So again, some of them young buck scopers would tell you, get yourself back in there and make another cast, make a better one. That was pretty good. They just didn't seem to want to party. We found a little congregation of them if they're the right flavor. At 50 feet out, you're going to see my lure rocket down to that fish that I cast at. Unfortunately, that fish moved a little bit and it was outside of the cone, as you can see by my lure barely being present, just a little bit above that fish, kind of playing a little dodgeball. Brought that fish up about 5 feet or so. He's playing with it. He's getting it. He's getting it. He's got it. I got him hooked up. Nope. I pull it away from him. He had it for a second. I just felt weight and didn't wait long enough. But I was patient. Dropped it back down at about 15, 20 feet away. He came back up and got it. So sometimes you got to stick with him. And this one's coming topside right now. Patience. I have none. Used a little. Caught a walleye. You can see that thing. This water, it is absolutely flat calm. We're in blue water, and I'll tell you what I did. I picked up a little heavier jig. I got a 1/2 ounce, which is got a 1/2 ounce, that same VMC tungsten, and I'm throwing that on a 7.5 foot rod, which seems to help a little bit for not having to work so hard to throw that, which is kind of key, because then you don't throw your worm off. Look at the thing, came right off. This was our like 4th chance fish. Nice little walleye, but again, doing things a little different. Like I told you guys, this is kind of my practice. We just happen to be videoing it, but a little heavier jig here, but super tiny still. This one's actually got a little bit smaller hook than I like. I like the 3/0 in those. I think that's a prototype with a 2/0. Probably not supposed to tell you that, but a little bit longer rod. This is a 902, and it's a little softer. And that's really nice on those. You can kind of let them load up. So those fish, you know, on this crawler deal, when you got that big old long crawler, you think about it, you guys at fish spinners, it's the same thing. If you hammer them right away, you're not going to get them. They're going to hit the tail on that thing, because they're definitely more neutral today than they have been the last couple times we've been doing this. So switching it up, that's what you got to do. Adapt. Come on. You do all the live scoping you want, but you still gotta make them bite. Gave that one plenty of time to wait. It's like fed them. You gotta give them some time sometimes, Mr. Walleye. Not the biggest walleye we've caught together. This is the most important. The one you just have in your hand is the most important. Also went to a heavier head, because these fish they're just deeper. They just are flat calm. They're not up moving around. You can't get very far away, and that heavier head just lets it sink faster, obviously, but it just gets in front of them so the boat's not swinging or things aren't pushing away. You can stay in front of them faster. You almost can't get in front of them fast enough, but then you got to pause because they're not ganking on it like they were when we were having that Z-Man. If you saw them chow down on the Graph ShadZ, they're not like that today. They're a little reserved, like me, reserved. Man, they are just biting so light, and you just have to like feed them. It's you know, I'm probably going to go back to a lighter jig head because you almost just got to suspend it right in front of them. They want her extra slow. It's the right flavor. There's a couple of them there. That always helps out. There's one thing we've learned. When there's a couple in there, they chow down. But man, we just had to let that thing soak and just basically hold on to it. But he took her down. Remember, old Gary Roach, he said, you know, no forceps, no good. Again, not the biggest one we've caught together, but we're learning. All these different conditions, you know, that's the thing. You go out and you think that you got her pegged out, figured out, and then you realize once the conditions change or the fish move, maybe we don't know as much as we think we do. So that's why we're kind of playing around here. So on the screen here, you're gonna notice we're kind of just learning the settings. We're not gonna get too crazy, but always keeping this out of auto. I kind of want to make the screen as big as I can. I've got the sensitivity way up. I was using a pretty small jig, but my range, you can see I'm using all of that, and I want to go out pretty far too. A lot of those fish today, 60, 80 feet was where we had to be, so I want to be able to see beyond that. So I'm about 110. Any more than that, we're probably not going to cast or chase them down too much. They may move by the time we get there. And then another little thing when you go in here, depending on what type of Humminbird that you have, you know, I'm using a little bit different palette than we were using before, but keeping my contrast and my sensitivity really jacked up because, again, we're fishing fairly deep, a lot deeper than I thought we would today, and using a pretty small jig head in all practical purposes. But that contrast, when you crank that up, will help you see that jig a little bit better. And those are a few little tips for you on the screen so you can see your deal. So here we are catching a few fish today after a little guide trip, sneaking out this afternoon. Things definitely are changing. I think, you know, obviously this is a little bit of a forward-facing casting deal, but it kind of the same thing parallels. And I don't think you should think of it as, do I do this or do I do that? Today, trolling probably was a better deal because these fish are really starting to scatter and get to the deeper basins. Much harder to do the forward-facing when they're out in that deeper water, and also when they're scattered. You know, when they're clumped up, it's a good deal. I'm seeing the same kind of thing, a little almost like a inline fishing report for you. A lot of those fish that were closer to shore and some of those breaks and things all the way down the lake are really seeming to push out. You know, we want to blame that on the mayflies or the fact that water temperature is over 70 and we are basically at summer. Probably a little bit of all of those things. So definitely the fish that we had been kind of fishing around definitely scattered out. A lot of junk came in there. Definitely caught a bunch of junk fish mixed in and had a bunch of short biters. But keep an open mind because you can't do anything more than once out here. It seems like things are changing. You need to change with it. Until the next episode.